Okay, everyone, here is my video for this packet. All right, so this is a warm-up page. In terms of this, we're doing this so that we can be able to do the dividing and it'll make more sense to us. So let's take a look at this. So we're just trying to convert these into decimals, which is totally possible, right? So if we're looking at 1, let's put our 1 here. 1 goes here. How many tenths is 1? Well, we can add our zeros as far out as we want, so we can say that 1 is equal to 10 tenths. And we know that not just from the place value chart, but also from down here, right? So if we fill this in, we know that 10 tenths equals 1. How many hundredths equals 1? All right, let's add another 0 in the hundredths box. Now we've got 100 hundredths equals 1. How many tenths is this? This is 1 tenth. Okay, now let's take a look, right? That's in the tenths box. But now let's think about if we have our tenths, 0. I put a few of these on here for you so that you can, fill in your place value chart and use it in different ways. So if we have 1 tenth here, how many hundredths is that? All right, all we need to do is add a 0 onto that tenths place. So our 1 is here, add a 0, that is 10 hundredths. Okay, 3.5. I'm going to use this one down here now. 3.5. How many tenths is that? That's it. The 5 lands in the tenths. That is 35 tenths. Okay, how many hundredths is it? Well, let's go to the hundredths. It is 350 hundredths. All right, I only have 2 place value charts for you, so let's go to, I'm going to erase the top one now so I can use this on this one. Okay, 12 holes, so let's write our 12 there. How many tenths is that? Put the 0 there. It's 120 tenths. How many hundredths is that? Okay, 1,200 hundredths. Okay, 5 tenths. Look, let's pretend there it is. There's our 5 tenths right there. That's 5 tenths, and that would be, add that 0 to the end, 50 hundredths. And here's a good example of how we can see that visually. 5 tenths, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's our 5 tenths. Okay, so we've got our 5 tenths. 5 tenths, that's what that looks like. We know that 5 tenths is 50 hundredths, right? Each tenth has 10 hundredths, so there's our 50 hundredths. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, next page. Okay, so in this problem, this is a review. Again, we're looking at dividing decimals by whole numbers, and then we're going to see how that changes when we divide a decimal by a decimal. Alex has 55 hundredths, so 10. Okay, here's our 50, right? 5 tenths and 5 hundredths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hundredths. There's her 55 hundredths. She wants to split that into 5 smaller bags. How many pounds will each bag weigh? Okay, so if this is basically half a pound, 55 hundredths of a pound, if we have 5 separate pounds, how much will each bag, 5 different bags, how much will each bag weigh? So we're going to do some simple math here. We're talking about 55. We know 55 divided by 5 is 11. Now, we're talking about 55 hundredths divided by 5, right? 55 hundredths divided by 5. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's see this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, so these are what our 5 groups are going to look like. Okay, so my 5 groups are here. I have circled 5 groups. Are our 5 groups a decimal? Are we talking about 11 whole or 11 hundredths? We know that we're talking about 11 hundredths because we're saying if we divide 55 hundredths into 5 groups, we're going to end up with a smaller number, and it's going to be a decimal, and this is where we just get to transfer that same decimal. Okay, now let's look at an alternative. The math isn't going to change. 55 divided by 5 here, but here we're looking at 55 divided by 0.05. Keshka has 55 hundredths of a pound bag of Jolly Ranchers. Let's color that in again. Did I do that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I just realized, you guys, I forgot to fill in up here. So we're saying when we divide a decimal by a whole number, when we divide a decimal by a whole number, we get a decimal. Okay, when we divide a decimal by a whole number, we get a decimal. Now, we're going to see how that's different, again, when we divide a decimal by a decimal. So here's his 55 hundredths of a bag of Jolly Ranchers. He wants to split them into bags that are 5 hundredths of a pound each. So now we're going to circle. Here's 5 hundredths of a pound. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's 5 hundredths of a pound. 2, 3. So we're looking at 5 hundredths each. And this is hard to see, but there we go. Each of those is 5 hundredths of a pound. How many bags can he fill? So again, the answer is 11, but in this case, it's actually truly 11 because we're saying how many groups of 5 hundredths are in 55 hundredths. There are 11 groups of 5 hundredths in 55 hundredths. So when we divide a decimal by a decimal, we get a whole number because in this case, we're asking about how many pounds this would be, how much money this would be. It is going to get smaller, but here we're asking about groups. How many groups are there? So we are going to get, a whole number. We're going to get a bigger number than either one of our original numbers in our equation. Okay, so the method that we've been using for this is to rewrite this. We're looking at this as 55 hundredths divided by 5 hundredths. So as long as we're talking about hundredths and hundredths, we can actually remove the decimal. And that we get the same answer as if it was a whole number. 55 divided by 5 is 11. Okay, let's do that on the next page. So we're using that rule again. If we have 2 decimals, we're dividing those decimals, we're going to end up with a whole number. Jerry has 72 hundredths of a bag of Jolly Ranchers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's my 7. Okay, 72. He wants to split them into bags that are 0.08 of a pound each. Okay, so we are looking at how many groups of 0.08 are in 72 hundredths. There's a lot of groups of 0.08. If we just count out 8 right here, let's do one group of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 hundredths already. So we can see that there's going to be a lot of those groups. So let's rewrite this. We're going to rewrite this equation into hundredths. What is this called? 72 hundredths divided by 8 hundredths. 72 divided by 8 equals what? You're going to need to use your multiplication chart for this. 72 divided by 8 equals 9. How many groups of 8 hundredths are in 72 hundredths? Are there 9 groups? That seems right. We could certainly do the circling and counting. Seems annoying to me, but I think that seems right. Okay, so our answer is 9. It's a whole number. Okay, I think you can do this one too. This is the same concept. We're looking at 63 hundredths divided by 7 hundredths. I want to see the coloring. I want to see the solution. I'm going to turn to the next page and I want to show you some things there. Okay, this is the problem. This kind of problem is the one I want you to watch out for. Let's take a look here. Now we're looking at 0.8 divided into groups of 8 hundredths. Let's start by coloring that so that we can visualize it. And again, I want to see the whole thing colored in the right way. Okay, so we're looking at 0.8 divided by 8 hundredths. How many groups of 8 hundredths are in 0.8? Okay, well, straight off the bat, we have a problem because here we're talking about tenths and here we're talking about hundredths. We can't do that math without making them both hundredths. Okay, so we're talking, so 0.8. How many hundredths is 0.8? If you use your place value chart on the front, you can see 0.8 is the same as 80 hundredths. And here we're already in the hundredths. So this is another 8 hundredths. Okay, now this is exactly what we're looking at. 80 hundredths. There we go. That's 80 hundredths divided by 8. How many groups of 8 are in 80? That's not hard at all. 80 divided by 8 is 10. And we can double check that. But look, I know for a fact, here's one group of 8, 2 groups of 8, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. There's 10 groups of 8 hundredths in 8 tenths, or in 80 hundredths, so that's 10. Okay, so in the next few problems, I want you to check. Are both of our numbers in the hundredths, or are they not? And you're going to need to pay close attention to that, because if it's not in the hundredths, then you're going to need to convert it to the hundredths. And for example, this one, is that in the hundredths? No, it is not. You're going to need to look back at your place value chart on page 1 and see how do we convert this into hundredths. Okay, this one too. 15 is definitely not written in the hundredths. How can we convert 15 to hundredths? Okay, I'm looking at several problems here where our dividend is not written in the hundredths, and this should be a hint that you need to change that to hundredths. Hundredths, looking good. Nope. hundredths, we're looking good. And no, we need this in the hundredths. Okay. All right. You can, I want you to do the work to the best of your abilities. I'm going to continue recording a few of these in case you still need help with this. But I hope that if you don't, that you will not continue and you will do your work independently. Okay, so let's go to this one. Let's do this one. 15 hundredths divided by 5 hundredths. 15 hundredths. That's 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hundredths. 1 and 5 hundredths divided by 5 hundredths. How many groups of 5 hundredths are there in 15 hundredths? That's not hard, you guys. Look at, we can circle them. 1, 2, 3. And we know that 15 divided by 5 is 3. So the answer is 3. Now let's look at this one. 1 and 5 tenths. That's a lot more than 15 hundredths, right? How many hundredths is that going to be? All right, place value chart, decimal grid, using both of them. Sorry, not 1 and 5 hundredths, this is 1 and 5 tenths. 1 and 5 tenths. There we go. Okay. So, how many hundredths do we have in here? We know that if we use our place value chart, we can put that 0 at the end. 1 and 5 tenths. This is 150 hundredths. Divided by 5 hundredths. We're good. 5 hundredths. 150 hundredths divided by 5. Okay, 15 divided by 5 is 3. So 3 times 5 is 15. 30 times 5 equals 150, right? So our solution is going to be 30. And I could circle all those 5s, but we could see how we could easily get to 30 5 hundredths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at that. We can definitely see how this is going to add up to be 30 groups total. Okay, this one now. 15 divided by 5 hundredths. How many hundredths is 15? 15 is not 150, it's 1500 hundredths divided by 5 hundredths. Okay, 15 divided by 5 is 3. 150 divided by 5 is 30. 1500 divided by 5 is 300, because 300 times 5 equals 1500. Okay, this one. Are we in the hundredths? No, we are not. We're in the tenths. So let's use that place value chart in the front of your, here. I'm gonna show you guys because I'm not convinced that you're looking back as you're doing this with me. Where is it? Okay, here we go. So here's our place value chart that we would use. 16.4, if we put it here, 16, oopsies. What is it? 16.4. 16.4. How many hundredths is that? We need to go to the hundredths. That's 1,640 hundredths divided by 2 hundredths. Uh-oh, I already see a problem that I made in this sheet. 1,640 hundredths divided by 2. Oops. You guys. I did that wrong. We need to put it down here. That top part is where we do our, where we put our our quotient. Okay. Can 2 go into 1? No. Move it over. So that's a 0. Okay, so now we're talking about 16. Can 2 go into 16? Yes. 2 times what equals 16? Here's your place value chart. 2 times 8 equals 16. None left over. Can 2 go into 4? Yes. 2 times 2 equals 4. And we have none left. 2 goes into 0. Now we need to include that 0. 0 times. Okay, so the question is, how many hundredths are in, how many groups of 2 hundredths are in 16.4? There are 820. There we go. Next one. Here we have a number in the hundredths, 135 hundredths, divided by 3 hundredths. Okay, let's put that down here, 135 hundredths divided by 3. Can 3 go into 1? No. Right? Okay. Can 3 go into 13? Yes. Use your multiplication chart. 3 times what? It's not going to get us 13 exactly, but it can get us close to 13. 3 times what gets us close to 13? 3 times, if I see my multiplication chart, I can see that 3 times 4 gets us close to 13. It doesn't get us over. 3 times 4 gets us to 12. And how many are left over? 1. Bring that up here. Okay, can 3 go into 15? Yes. 3 times what equals 15? 3 times 5 equals 15. Okay, so our solution is no 0 here. How many groups of 3 hundredths are in 135 hundredths? There are 45 groups. Okay, final page. This is nicely written in the hundredths. 465 hundredths divided by 5 hundredths. 4, 6, 5 divided by 5. Can 5 go into 4 hundredths? No. So we need to move it over. We can put a 0 here, or we can just ignore it and put it over here. Okay, can 5 go into 46? Yes. 5 times what equals 46? Well, we're not going to get exactly to 46, but we can get pretty close. And if I look at my multiplication chart, I can see that 5 times 9 gets us to 45, right? How many are left over? There's 1 left over. Let's bring it over here. Okay, can 5 go into 15? Yes. 5 times what equals 15? 5 times 3 equals 15. 0. Our answer is 93. 93. Okay. This is circled. We circled this one because this is written as tenths. We need to write it as hundredths. 9 tenths equals 90 hundredths divided by 1 hundredth. 90 divided by 1 is 90. This is 9 hundredths divided by 1 hundredth. How many hundredths? 1 hundredths are in 9 hundredths. There are 9. Okay, this is 9 as hundredths. What would that be? 900 hundredths divided by 1 hundredth. There are 900 hundredths, right? In 9. Okay, good job, you guys.